Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. He was sure he would catch his girlfriend in the act when he started to watch the tape. Nobody else was in the room, so she had to be joking around with him. He would now have enough proof to finally talk to her about it. He stopped watching the video and looked at the dark figure in the kitchen. Suddenly, the back of his neck started to itch. He got so close to the screen that his eyes were almost touching it. Sure, there was someone there. It wasn't his girlfriend, though. Person who acts Joe Cummings lived in Manhattan, New York, and had been in his apartment for a few years. He stayed there until one day, something made him want to leave right away. He began to notice that food was going missing after a few days. He didn't think much of it at first. But after restocking the fridge and pantry one day, he couldn't help but notice that half of the food was missing. He was sure he had to talk to her. He lived with his lover and had a good relationship with her. In the city where dreams come true, they lived like young lovers. They had everything at that time. One night, while he was sleeping, he couldn't stop hearing things. He heard a door squeak, the floor thumps, and what he thought were footsteps in the kitchen. Besides that, when he woke up, most of his food was gone. He was done. When he asked his girlfriend if she was the one who was taking all the food, he used the word stealing twice, which didn't go over well. Is this the end of their happily ever after relationship? Things began to get tense between them. He had no choice but to catch her in the act because she kept denying everything. But he didn't know that what he saw was much worse than he thought it would be. He was sure he had to do something because he couldn't keep living this way. His lover said she didn't take the food at night. He was crazy. Was he making all of this up? Is there a ghost in the house? He thought the animal that kept getting in might be a pet. He then remembered that before going to bed, he always locked all the doors and windows. It had to be something in his house already. He had to find answers because he knew this could mean the end of his relationship with his girlfriend. After much thought, Cummings chose to place the camera so that it could see the kitchen and part of the living room clearly. Of course, he didn't tell anyone, not even Miss Smith. He was sure it was her eating snacks in the middle of the night. But what he couldn't understand was why she would do that. It was too soon for Cummings to hear the truth. He was ready to set things up and find out the truth. He went so far as to buy night vision for his camera so he could find out all about his girlfriend's midnight secret. You can see at first how Cummings leaves his kitchen, which is all by itself. Until a few hours later, when his own house turns into his worst fear. A woman comes into the kitchen from what looks like an upper-level storage box. He believed he knew it. She had been taking food the whole time. Why did she not tell him and keep it a secret? Was that a joke? But what he saw next really scared him to the core. He had to keep watching to find out the truth. As she climbs out, the woman grabs a nearby table to help her stay steady while she moves a booth to the right height for her to jump off of it. She knew just where to put herself, so it didn't look like it was her first time. The woman then looked at the camera, which is when Cummings knew. He was wrong about this woman. Cummings's head hurt, and he couldn't breathe. When he realized that this woman was a stranger, his heart beat faster and faster. The strange invader kept appearing in his video feed, and he couldn't take his eyes off of it. The man kept walking around the kitchen. At first, he looked in the fridge and drank straight from a juice box. After that, she goes to the bathroom and the kitchen and keeps looking for food in the pantry. Cummings felt sick to his stomach. What kind of woman was she? He now understood why his food kept going missing. He gave it to a woman who had been hiding out in his flat by accident. She even dared to sit down on the couch and eat something from his pantry while she did it. After that, though, something scared her. There was a lot of noise in the floor as Cummings walked to the kitchen to get a glass of water. The strange woman ran quickly and found a place to hide. She would come out later, when she was sure it was safe to do so. She keeps drinking and snacking on whatever she can find, and then she quickly runs back to where she is hiding. The video recorder keeps going, and the next morning we can see Cummings getting ready to run. Like the person who broke in a few hours before, he opens the fridge and drinks from the box. He still didn't know that someone else was with him. He was shocked by what he saw on the tape and watched it all the way through. His gut feeling was right. It wasn't his girlfriend who was taking the food. I knew I wasn't eating the food that kept going missing in my room. In his YouTube video, Joe Cummings says, I asked my girlfriend who lives with me about it, and she said she wasn't eating it. Cummings called the cops right away. Having watched the film, he felt a ball of fear in his stomach and chills went up his spine. He really needed to leave that place right away because he was scared to death. He ran out the door gasping and called the cops right away. The next thing they say makes him even more scared. After she was caught, it was found that she had been there for more than 2 weeks. I do not understand how she got in. Being on the top floor with a fire escape, the only way in is through the window, Cummings wrote on YouTube. The cops believe she came in to rob me while I was away and chose to stay in the crawl space. The police say this isn't the first time they've seen something like this. The fact that she had been there for more than 2 weeks made his heart beat faster. It made the whole thing even more disturbing. When he put out the film, it went viral right away. Some people aren't sure about it, but others have checked every part of their house more closely since then. Could they sleep at night knowing that someone had broken into their privacy? That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.